Holy cow. This is fun. Thank you, Ashley. Last time I was on this stage, I got to introduce to the world Use Effect. Let's hope the content of this talk ages a little better in your minds than Use Effect has. Now, I still like Use Effect. You're all just haters. So, Vanilla React, or 10 years of React Router. I made the first commit to React Router literally 10 years ago last week on May 9th. I was a young man back then. My wife got me that sweater. And I had no idea that I was signing up for 10 years of open source, and that changes a person. Here are the first commits to React Router from the bottom to top. The highlighted one's my favorite. What's up? I just beat React. I remember this. Look at the timestamp. That's 1:13 in the morning. I was just going all night, and you can see I wake up and I'm making commits at 7:50 in the morning right after. So this is when I fell in love with React, and I knew that it was changing everything. And I was so excited. And I felt like I'd beat React. I'd figured it out. React these days is a little harder to beat. But on the remix team, we're trying. We are trying to beat our React again. Speaking of remix, it is a full stack web framework on top of React Router. So this is something that our team, we build both React Router and remix. We launched this a couple years ago, and Shopify reached out and said, hey, we like what you're doing. How would you feel about building this under our roof? And we said, absolutely, and it's been awesome. People ask me all the time, what's it like since you guys have been at Shopify? And I think for the relevance of this talk, probably the biggest, most important thing to me about being at Shopify is when you're building a framework, it's really easy to fall into this idealism, pedantic trap of no, this is the way it needs to be. You got to balance that with the pragmatism too, right? And there's so much code at Shopify in React for both our own stuff and externally with our merchants that it's really helping us to find that balance of idealism that you need. You need that in a framework, but also the pragmatism that comes from the real world. So why is this talk called Vanilla React if I'm just going to shill Shopify, Remix, and React Router? I wanted you to stick around after the keynote. No, the docs have recently said on React, if you're building your whole site in React, you probably want to use a framework. And so if React is saying, hey, use a framework, naturally this new kind of term pops up of well, I don't use a framework, so I'm using Vanilla React. And if you go and dig in and look at those Vanilla React apps, most of the time they're using React Router. In fact, 7.8 million repositories on GitHub have React Router in the package JSON. It's more stressful than it is exciting for us, but one of those is the admin app at Shopify, and it's 5 million lines of React and React Router. Just enormous, right? There's just so much React out there. I can't believe we're still using it after 10 years. I thought we were supposed to switch JavaScript frameworks every month, right? But here we are, a decade later, and we've got apps at Shopify. You've got apps that are 7, 8, 9, 10. Some people even have 11-year-old React apps. And we got to figure out when an app gets that old, you kind of start asking questions, right? Anyone been in a meeting like this about that old React app? What are we going to do about this thing? We should probably start modernizing it, right? So what does that mean? This guy over on the right, he's like, modernize? I still got a Flux store in my spot. We're probably looking for code splitting, simplified data loading, form actions, server actions, simplified pending states, optimistic UI, server rendering, static pre-rendering. RSC is coming. Again, that guy's like, don't talk to me about RSC. I've got Flux stores. Actually, no. This one is Apollo, and this one's just GraphQL by itself. Most of these vanilla React apps were probably bootstrapped with Create React App. Great project that helped get a lot of React apps started. Here's the commit history of Create React App. 10 months ago, last year, 2 years ago. Those are the top 3 commits. So not only is this project dead, it's been dead for a long time. So if you're trying to modernize your stack, this probably isn't the thing. And if you want to join what we're doing at Shopify and what appears to be what a lot of the community is doing, people are making a move over to the Vite plugin React. The absolute numbers on these graphs are usually not super interesting, but the trends are where you can actually find information. And we can see that the trend here is definitely moving vanilla React apps over to Vite. So even if you switched over to Vite and you're happy with it, you still have all these questions of like, how are we going to do server rendering or whatever else we're looking for? You're either going to have to build your own framework around this stuff on Vite, or you're going to have to go adopt a framework to take advantage of not just current features of React. It's had server rendering since forever, right? But all the future stuff. You want your app to be ready to take advantage of everything that we've already heard about and everything that we're going to hear about for the next couple of days here at this conference. So the React docs are like, oh, you should probably adopt a framework. And so someone says, well, let's try Next.js. Someone says, well, that's a rewrite, and it's 5 million lines of code. We're not doing that. Well, I heard Astro's a little less opinionated. That's still a rewrite. Well, we use React Router, and the Remix team builds both, so maybe let's do that. And they said, no, that's also a rewrite. I take offense to the last one, because we've always said Remix is just React Router plus compiler equals Remix. And I've said that till I was blue in the face, and then some people believed me, and they tried it, and they're like, all right, fine, I'm going to go move my app from React Router to Remix. And they came back. They said, nope. That felt like a rewrite. So I, as a team, but even me personally, like I made that first commit to React Router, and it kind of blows me away that it's at this stage now, and it would not be here without my partner, Michael Jackson. I feel a great responsibility for all of these millions of apps. I mean, most of these are just stupid things you did on the weekend, right? But there's got to be at least 1 million real ones. And I feel responsible for that stuff. Like, how do we move that stuff into the future? We're really proud of Remix. We're proud of and appreciate the shout out with our form actions and pending states and revalidation. We're really proud of what we've built, but it does feel like a rewrite. All the options today in that meeting are just kind of hard. So we've been really thinking about this. We talk about bridges a lot on our team. We're trying to help people. We're trying to build a bridge to the future of React. We shipped a couple of features recently that got me thinking. We shipped SPA mode in Remix that allows you to ship Remix without a server. You don't have to do server rendering. You can still get the benefits of Remix without a server. And then we also brought in the Vite compiler instead of building our own. And these two features kind of drew some pretty good lines around all of our code to where it really was just React Router plus a Vite plugin equals Remix. And I realized, and I tried it, I could swap the dependencies in my app from Remix Run React to React Router DOM, and it still worked. So everything that Remix does today, it's simply reaching into React Router to use features from React Router, and the Vite plugin is what makes it a little bit more convenient to do that. So I started thinking, well, maybe we don't have a React Router v7, we just do Remix v3, and we tell everyone using React Router, hey, install Remix now. That sounds nefarious. So I thought, well, maybe we go the other way then, and maybe Remix becomes React Router v7. Maybe we go the other way, and Remix becomes React Router v7. 33 people had a clue what I was saying here. So what do we get? What if we brought the Vite plugin that makes React Router easier to use just over to React Router? Well, we'd get all of this stuff. So now you're sitting in that meeting and you're just thinking and you're like, first of all, what happened to the rest of my finger? And then the second thing, oh yeah, wood shop in 9th grade, I remember that. And someone's like, we really need to start server rendering this page, and RSC looks interesting. There's a few pieces that we want to use RSC. What are we going to do? This is not scary, especially if the React Router team can pull it off in a way that's incremental, right? That isn't a rewrite. Not only does it not need to feel like a rewrite, it needs to not be an emotional rewrite, but it needs to technically not be a rewrite. We got to be able to increment into this thing. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bring the Vite plugin from Remix over to React Router. And now you'll have easier access to all the features React Router already has, but Vite just makes it more convenient. It's not out yet, but it will be in React Router v7. If you've been watching our commits, you'll know exactly what's been going on the whole time. We haven't hidden any of this. So the question comes, well, what about Remix? Because we got any Remix users in the house? A few of you? A couple really loud ones. Kent's up here. I don't know if you noticed, but on that slide with everybody's avatars, Michael was just showing me, Kent is on it like 12 times. In the bottom right corner, there's like 5 of him. Remix is going to just take a little nap. We got some ideas for what Remix, the project, the code is in the future. But for the time being, all the code, we've been doing this the whole time. We've been moving Remix features over to React Router ever since we started building Remix. And we're just at the point now where it's like, yeah, the last thing is just this Vite plugin, so let's just bring it over. So Remix is going to take a little nap. The brand, the swag, we've got some, go get it. The team, we're the Remix team. We have Remix meetups, we have Remix community. We're not getting rid of any of that stuff. We love our community and we love our brand, but you're just not going to install anything that says Remix. It'll just all be React Router. The split between the projects serves no technical purpose anymore because we've found the right lines and we figured out, oh, it's just a Vite plugin for React Router, which is how we described it from the beginning, so just kind of funny. So what does that mean for React Router? Like I said, it's all about incremental improvements. If we're going to bring those millions of React Router apps into the future of React, it can't be a rewrite. So I want to try to, I'm going to try to show that that's exactly how it's going to work out. If my demos and everything else are going to, oh man, I haven't even started this app. I thought I had it running in the back already, and this one takes forever. So this is a little demo app from the SST dev team, their demo on how to deploy to AWS. It's got real authentication with, I think it's using Cognito. It's got real data stores. It's got a payment processing with Stripe. So a really nice little demo app to just try out. So I have been migrating this over to React Router v7. So you can see here, this is the routes component that you probably have used before, and then you list all your routes underneath. I'm using a different HDMI cord than last time. That font's too small, isn't it? All right, is that good enough? Okay. And light mode, I'm blasting you. I use light mode on purpose because I like to see your faces. So I'm blinding you on purpose. So I've been migrating these one route at a time, and I want to do the last one right up here in front of you. You can see up here we're importing this notes component from containers notes. I can come down. This is the very last route that I have to migrate. No, it's wrapped in an authenticated route, a kind of common pattern that we see. So I'm going to comment this out and save. And now, oops, I should be on that screen. Page not found. I don't have a note like that. Now I'm going to come over to my Vite config. And I'm going to add, I'm going to give myself a little more room. I'm going to add the route to the route config in the Vite plugin. So if I save this, notice it's pointing at containers new note as well. And the whole thing still loads. I didn't change any application code whatsoever. It's just moving to a different route. So what's different? Well, the first thing that's different is this just automatically and intelligently code split that route. That wasn't happening before. So after I migrated this whole app over to React Router v7, it dropped from about a 700 kilobyte initial JavaScript bundle to about 150 for whatever page you land on. So pretty big deal. And you just get that for free by moving it into what we call a route module in React Router v7. So let's go over and check out the component. And we've got here it all is. The second thing that this enables is now that it's a route module, you have access to the React Router data layer. And like I said before, Remix just made it more convenient to get into the features that already exist in React Router. One of those features is export async function client loader. So this is going to call this function before it renders any of the page. And you get a request here, so it feels similar to the server, and you get URLs and things like that. I'm going to say await require auth and pass in the request. So this require auth thing came from the same thing that component, the authenticated route wrapper, was using. That's the same code there. I'm going to bring in function, client loader function. This is the worst named thing. It's not good if you love everything about it, right? It means you never shipped it. Let's rename it. Client loader function args. Okay. The sulfur. Yep, that's about how it smells with being that long. That's a fresh joke right up here. I didn't even think of that one ahead of time. But not fresh, actually. It's not going to stop now. Okay. Now that's how you protect the routes with a client loader. So this is a single page app. This is not server rendering. There's no JavaScript server. There's no Node stuff going on. It's all just in the browser, and that's what client loaders do. So here's what's interesting. I just did a tiny bit of stuff right. I got some features. I got automatic code splitting, and I can actually walk away from this now. I can make a commit. It can get deployed, and I can, if some bug, some fire is happening somewhere, I can go and deal with that fire, and I can ship this. So we can already see the incremental steps that we're able to take. Let's now move this note. It's in state right here. And this effect is what's fetching it. So let's move this whole effect into our client loader. Since we're in a client loader, we're outside of the React lifecycle, so I can just get rid of my effect. Don't need that. I don't need this funny onload thing that you have to do in use effects to have an async function, right? You've probably done that before. We've also got, gotta get rid of that. React Router automatically wraps all of your UI and your loaders in error boundaries, and this error is not really helping anybody. So I don't even need to wrap this in a try-catch because React Router's got us covered. This is just some state management stuff, which I don't need to do anymore because my client loader is going to deal with that. So I don't need this content anymore. This is a funny function. This has nothing to do with refactoring to React Router, but I just can't stand it. So I'm going to just, there we go. Don't need that load note thing. Notes ID, I'm going to need some params in here. So our client loader is going to get the params from the URL. And yeah, that's not bad. Return the note. And then down here, where we were reading the note, we're not going to read it from our state anymore. We're going to read this from a thing called use loader data, which is a feature already in React Router, but it's just a lot easier with a client loader on your module. We're going to have better types here in a minute. Just don't get mad at me for this coercion, like you didn't see anything. And then this was a controlled component here for controlling the content over there, and it comes from the note. So now I just set it initially, and I should be able to save this thing. And if I click back here, and then click the note again, pretty cool. All still works. We got a little, not only did we delete a bunch of code, but we got a little UX improvement. Before, you'd get a blank screen, because down here, this code is like, it's saying, where is it? It's way down there. If I don't have a note, just don't do anything. And so they would get a blank screen there at first. But client loaders are guaranteed to run before the component renders. So you don't have to worry about if there's a note or there's not a note. The transitions are handled by React Router. Now keep in mind, this is all React 18. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming in React 19 that we saw. A lot of stuff that the React Router has solutions for, but we had to build them outside of React because they weren't in React yet. It's really cool to see some of these features come into React in a little bit different shape because now they're composable. But even before React 19, you can still get most of those benefits with React Router v7. So again, it's all about incremental, right? This is another point where I can make a commit, and I can deploy it, and I can get back to other things, and I can get back to this again later. The final thing that I'm going to do here on this demo, I'm just going to copy all of this and just go back and paste it. So what I would do next is I would move my client, I'd bring in a client action, and this thing is just going to say, hey, delete the note or save the note. Pretty simple code. And note what happens to my component. Up top, all the states are gone. You remember what that looked like before? Had a whole bunch of states, and now they're all gone. In fact, this is pretty cool. if I do a search in the original demo and I say use state, you can see there are 14 occurrences of use state in the original demo before React Router v7. Remember, it's already a React Router app. It's a v6 app. And incrementally, I remove some use states, and by the time I'm done, if I search in the migrated one, well, that can't be right. How can you have a React app with no use states? They're all gone. How much you can, I mean, just clap internally, clap loud, whatever you want to do. So much of our React state is just, I fetch something from somewhere and I put it in a cache. It's really what use state is most of the time. So this is all stuff that you can do with a single page app in React 18 with React Router v7, and you just saw we can do it incrementally. Let me show you a couple other demos. These should be pretty quick. This one over here is another store. This is also a single page app right now. And it looks really similar. Or sorry, no, the next one is the same as this, whatever. All right, so this is a single page app. You can see we get a little like loading state up there, like loading single page app. If I go into my Vite config in React Router v7, I can say SSR true. Make that change, and then I can come back to my thing here and I can say instead of a client loader, let's do a loader. And you're not going to believe me, so I have to prove it. So I'm going to disable JavaScript, and I'm going to reload this thing, and it rendered. What the heck? So the Vite plugin figures out, okay, the loader's a server code, let's move it over there, and then it creates server bundles. And so you'll need to deploy that server bundle that it creates somewhere. We got presets and stuff that make it easy for most hosts. But you can see it's just these little tweaks. This page needs to be server rendered, maybe another one doesn't need to be. If you've got that JavaScript server, you can just turn that flag on to true and then switch client loaders to loaders. Or go the other way. Maybe it would make more sense to fetch things from the client, so switch it from loader to client loader. We kind of got obsessed in our community with static site generation. And we've been buttheads about it the whole time, like, get out of here. But anyway, we added it. So you can say pre-render, you can return store, and if I save this, we're going to take our server bundle that we just use on servers that get requests, and during the build, we're just going to make requests, new request, and pass it to it, and save some stuff. So check this out. If I say npm run build, generated build client store.data, generated build client store index.html. So if you want it, React Router v7 will let you do some static pre-rendering. So we got single page apps, we've got server rendering, we've got static pre-rendering. Am I missing something? I hear people whispering it. Should we chant it? All right, for my last trick, I already have errors. Oh, phew, it's working. It's not shipped. Like I said, this is all React Router v7 stuff. But if we come over here, I've got my loader. And you might decide one day, like, you know what? This bit of UI, this list of products there, these top products, we want to move that rendering to the server with RSC. So how do you move rendering to the server in React Router v7? Well, you select your code that you want to move to the server, and then you move it to the server, and then you come down here and you look at this product thing, and you're like, what is that? Well, I guess it's some stuff that I can render. Oh, yep, like I told you. I'm running on an experimental React router and a beta of React, so I got to restart this thing. Oh my goodness, look at this. Wait a sec. Is that interactive still? If I come in here to my carousel, it is. So React Router v7 will support server components. You just return it out of loaders. and now everything else in React Router still works the same. Loaders, actions, fetchers, our automatic revalidation. Your server components will just get revalidated the same way that React Router and Remix have always revalidated everything. And so everything here is incremental so that you can take your current React Router apps and start getting the benefits of where React is going. So what do I want you to know? What do I want you to know about this talk? React Router has been here for the last 10 years of React, and with V7, it's ready for the next 10 years of React. Thank you.